In an unexpected twist, Red Bull is planning some big changes to their driver lineup. With McLaren, Ferrari and now Mercedes getting faster, the Austrian team is feeling the heat in the Constructors' Championship. Even though Verstappen is still leading the Drivers' Championship, that could change soon, pushing Red Bull to rethink their strategy. Could we see a new driver pairing instead of Perez and Verstappen? And what will happen to the team during this silly season? In this video, we'll explore all the possible outcomes, like if Verstappen might join Mercedes and who could take Perez's spot if he keeps underperforming. Let's dive into these potential scenarios and see what's in store for Red Bull. Yuki Tsunoda has kicked off the 2024 season in style, though his momentum has slowed down a bit due to some upgrades that didn't pan out as his Italian team expected. Despite this, the Japanese driver has been stealing the spotlight over the past few months. Tsunoda himself has voiced hopes for stronger backing from Red Bull in 2025, noting that things have changed a lot. He's received a flood of offers from other teams in case he decides to leave Red Bull, which might make the Red Bull executives think twice about letting him go. Even though Racing Bulls has shown some independence in their development, they still act as a talent factory for Red Bull. With both current Red Bull drivers possibly leaving soon for different reasons, the team will need to dig deep into their driver pool to avoid a rocky rebuilding period. Sure, the idea of Verstappen jumping ship to Mercedes is still just wishful thinking for the Silver Arrows, but they've been improving their car rapidly. Meanwhile, Red Bull has been struggling to boost the performance of their RB20, especially on circuits with bumpy surfaces and lots of curbs. Red Bull certainly isn't short on driver options, but it's a tricky situation for the drivers themselves. For any of them to move up to the main team, certain things need to fall into place. Right now, Ricciardo is the top contender to replace Perez if the veteran underperforms in the upcoming 2 races. However, just like Perez, Ricciardo's performance in these races will also be closely evaluated to see if he's a good fit for the Red Bull seat. The team isn't looking for someone to compete with Verstappen right now, they just need a strong and reliable second driver. What the team needs is a solid second driver who can stick close to Verstappen and help secure the Constructors' Championship. This is crucial because rivals like Ferrari, McLaren and Mercedes always have their drivers finishing close together in top spots. Right now, this seems like the most practical approach. However, if Perez does well, he might stay on through the end of the 2024 season and be reconsidered for the following year. But if Ricciardo doesn't perform up to expectations, Red Bull might start looking for another replacement, with Tsunoda emerging as a possible future star for the team. Saying he's ready to be Verstappen's top teammate right now is a bit of a stretch. He has plenty of growing and maturing to do. Honestly, being with Racing Bulls might limit his development and he'd need better, more competitive cars to truly showcase his talent. If Red Bull chooses this route, it could hint at some interesting future plans for Verstappen, even though the 3-time champ has been clear that he plans to stay until his contract ends in 2028. However, Verstappen also admitted that nothing is set in stone in this sport, and if a better opportunity arises, he wouldn't hesitate to leave Red Bull. Aside from the occasional tantrums and immature moments from the Japanese driver, whose behaviour has improved in the 2024 season, it seems Tsunoda doesn't have the technical know-how that Red Bull needs to advance their car. While it's easy to criticise Ricciardo's track performance, there's no denying he's been the driving force the team needed to start moving in the right direction. This might explain why he's the top candidate to replace Perez in the second half of the season, giving him 8 races to prove he's the perfect choice for 2025. That year is expected to be highly competitive, and any team lacking 2 strong drivers may lose their shot at the Constructors' Championship. The big unknown now is the 2026 regulations and how quickly Mercedes can improve their car. Verstappen's first comment about potentially joining Mercedes was that they're not as fast as Red Bull, which means it wouldn't make sense for him to switch teams just yet. After the recent races and with many upgrades coming before the summer break, Mercedes might soon be high on Max Verstappen's list. Coupled with the internal struggles at Red Bull and the unknown 2026 regulations, the possibility of Verstappen leaving Red Bull could rise significantly. This would force Red Bull to choose a young yet reliable and experienced driver, and Yuki Tsunoda fits that bill. However, we can't ignore Liam Lawson's chances either. In his 5-race stint with AlphaTauri in 2023, Lawson showed he could compete closely with Tsunoda, which might earn him a shot with the main team. But just as Mercedes aims to let Antonelli grow, Red Bull might want to give Lawson some more experience before promoting him. Even Verstappen spent a year with Toro Rosso before moving to Red Bull in 2016, where he immediately made a mark by winning his first race. Red Bull faces a serious challenge. Both Tsunoda and Lawson might leave if the team doesn't show more commitment. Marco has confirmed that if Lawson isn't given a Red Bull seat by 2025, he has a contract clause letting him move elsewhere. One possibility is Sauber, a team set to be taken over by Audi in 2026. Tsunoda also has connections with other teams, especially Aston Martin, thanks to Honda's involvement with them. If both drivers leave, Red Bull might have to look outside their current lineup. One option could be Carlos Sainz. Although there were issues between Red Bull and Sainz in the past when he raced alongside Verstappen at Toro Rosso, they might consider him again, especially if they run out of options or if Verstappen decides to depart. Even if Verstappen stays, Red Bull might eye Sainz as a potential teammate for him if their current drivers underperform. There's a situation here that these folks understand better than anyone else. If the driver next to Verstappen isn't Perez or Ricciardo, they can't rely on team orders or a supportive teammate like Bottas was. Anyone in that seat will want to show they can be just as good as Verstappen in the same car. This might bring in a lot of points for the Constructors' Championship if the competition remains healthy. However, it's likely to grow into a much bigger issue that could destroy the team's chemistry, especially when the team is already shaky due to all the allegations against Horner and the internal power struggles. Considering all this, Perez and Ricciardo are under a lot of pressure right now. It will be interesting to see if their experience can help them save their F1 careers. But if things go differently, it seems Red Bull is gearing up for a new wave of young drivers like Liam Lawson and Isaac Hadjar, who are now in the conversation as future racing bulls. What do you think will happen to the Red Bull drivers during this unpredictable season? Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below. See you in the next video.